Jerry, what do you guys need to do differently to support Brian and to end the 29-year drought that you guys have between going to a Super Bowl?
Well, I think we, you always have to evaluate, where it didn't go right last year. And obviously we're also evaluating where it didn't go right, in terms of, this drought that people say we're in terms of a championship game or a Super Bowl. And, we just have to continue to make this roster better. It'll certainly be something that Jerry, myself, Will and his staff, and now Coach Shoddy and his staff, we'll sit down and take a look and see.
29-year turning into 30-year drought. Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jaydon Blue, the Funky Chicken, as well as Bucky the Damn Beaver. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope you all are having a great day. It is week number 11 already in the NFL season. It's hard to believe that we are literally that far gone into the season. What's crazy is it's cold out. It seems like it was just training camp and we're worried about guys getting overheated. And here we are getting close to Thanksgiving, week 11 with the the game tonight. I'm sorry. It's New England and the Jets, I believe. Yeah, New England and the Jets. The tale of two teams right now. The Jets, who have kind of purged the roster. New England, that's been resurrected in literally one season, while the Dallas Cowboys are still mired in whatever we want to call this. It's just not pretty. Now, I will say, playing that clip of Stephen Jones, who talks about the drought that we're in, that the Cowboys have actually gotten some more talent. And some of that has been good because I will say that thus far, early returns on this draft have been better than recent years. Recent years, we usually get like one outstanding player and then kind of a couple of maybe role players or a flash in the pan, but typically we're not getting a lot of hits. You have to say quietly, Tyler Booker, with the exception of being injured, has been a good pick. Definitely been a good pick. The interior of offensive line has been really good. It's our tackles that have been leaving us wondering. Donovan E.Z. doesn't get a lot of love and everything out there, but is probably the leading defensive player rookie this year and deserves to get more playing time. And especially getting Quentin Williams is going to make him that much more effective because it's going to reduce the area that the quarterback has to work in, because it's going to be difficult for him to step up in the pocket. If Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark can push that pocket, those edge rushers are more effective than if that quarterback can step up, then his point of attack has to be closer in. He should be more effective. Savon Ravel, well, we're going to get a chance to see what he's going to look like, and hopefully he's really ready to come back and work his way. And I don't expect him to be all of a sudden a shutdown corner right now. In fact, I don't expect to see him playing more than about 20, 25 plays in his first game. But this is about building. I know that people don't want to say the season's over. It's not over, but your aspirations probably for winning a Super Bowl this year are. But the season isn't over because this is the opportunity for you to get Savon Ravel time to become a really good player for next year. Shamar James, our 5th-round pick, he's been in there playing roles and has showed flashes and definitely has done some things. Jay Tola has played a little bit, but, defensive tackles, it takes time. And now with the extra picks of Kenny Clark and, of course, of trading for Quentin Williams, he's going to get less opportunities. Jaydon Blue, unfortunately, Jaydon Blue, where we were surprised by his speed and thinking that he was going to be Tony Pollard 2.0, seems to have fallen out of favor with the Cowboys. He's got 22 carries for 65 yards. Nothing spectacular. One catch. And it seems like he's been kind of put on the bench, so to speak. And, it's sad because we heard the rumors that people said that he was lazy as far as learning the playbook and getting his feet underneath of him in the NFL. And when you get your opportunities, you got to make the most of them. And so far, you have not seen anything flashing for him. And to the point where the Cowboys, fortunately, Javonte Williams has been playing really, really well. But they've brought up Malik Davis. He played against the Cardinals, got 1 or 2 rushes. They cut him, but then brought him back 3 days later. So they're keeping pressure on him. Now, Phil Maffa had the shoulder injury. He's on IR. I really believe that they're just trying to stash him. They're trying to kind of keep it so nobody tries to pull him away. But at this point, for me, this is the time that you go through and we start evaluating people. We find out the combinations that work better and start figuring out what we need going forward. What's crazy to me is the thought that some people are saying, get rid of George Pickens. Get rid of George Pickens. I don't know how you look at George Pickens versus, say, A.J. Brown. We'll see how the rest of the season goes, but right now you're looking at him at 760 yards in 9 games. One of the top leading receivers in the NFL. A guy who's making plays and drawing penalties. To me, you got to keep him. I've gone on record saying that if you end up letting him go or if you mess up the situation and don't find a way to keep him happy, if you franchise tag him, which you might be looking at, is A.J. Brown right now. I want to remind you guys, see, sometimes one man's trash is another man's treasure. Charles Haley was thought to be uncontrollable. That Charles Haley, was just not that guy. Great talent, but he's a team wrecker. But see, Jimmy Johnson understood how to use Charles Haley and get along and get the most out of him and used him to help us get 2 more Super Bowls. See, that's the difference between having a problem child and understanding how to work with them. That wasn't the case here that people thought. Everybody said George Pickens, oh man, it's in fact, I want to go back. Let's go back a little bit here. Hopefully I won't get copywritten. But Colin Cowherd.
You got to bless
this is how
Dallas
bad
Cowboy fans' heart. They're so excited for George Pickens.
You
and I
know
was saying this today.
That's your honesty.
When Kyle Shanahan said, I can't make Trey Lance work. I made Matt Schaub a Pro Bowler. Brock Purdy, I got him to a Super Bowl. Garoppolo, I got to a Super Bowl. I can't make Trey Lance work. And the Cowboys were like, ooh, here's a 4th-round pick. Okay, when Warren Buffett says, be careful with Bitcoin, I'm careful with Bitcoin. When Mike Tomlin says about a receiver, listen, I can't make it work. Chase Claypool, A.B., Martavius Bryant. I mean,
Deontay
the
Johnson.
list goes on. Deontay Johnson. If Mike Tomlin, who is 2 things, great motivator and incredibly patient with immature players, when Mike says, yeah, guys, I'm out. But Jerry, this is a personality trait. Jerry loves to save. He loves to give people jobs that need him. Chan Gailey, Mike McCarthy, Jason Garrett, Brian Schottenheimer. They feel like Jerry is saving it. He's giving a job that's not available. McCarthy couldn't get interviews. Parcells and Jimmy Johnson didn't need him. That wore Jimmy out. Dak Prescott, 4th round. He loves, Tony Romo, undrafted. Cowboys never draft quarterbacks in the 1st round. They don't need Jerry. So when he goes and gets George Pickens, who the reputation is out. Basically, Tomlin, I'm out. Jerry's like, I'm here. I'll make it work. I think this is Jerry's wildcatting oil days, where he would hunt for gems. And I think that is literally his mindset with coaches and sometimes draft picks and players, is that he feels like Pickens, he's the rest of the league is out, I am in, and I don't think long term. I think that's why the Cowboys are where the Cowboys are currently in the NFL.
I think that George Pickens is one of the more overrated players in the whole league. And the reason I feel that way
these
is
guys know what they're
I
talking
think
about, don't they?
Certain football fans, this is one of my favorite and kind of relatively newest take, which is talent has become wildly overrated. And particularly in the NFL. Obviously, you need a requisite level of talent. That
Talent is overrated in the NFL. Well, here's what I look at. Unlike what's happening right now with the Eagles, which is getting to be a bit ugly, and I can pull up a post where the quarterback and the wide receiver don't seem to be getting along, and he is making waves. Let's be clear here. What's happening with A.J. Brown is what everybody thought was going to be George Pickens. That George Pickens was going to be get me the ball, and become the off-field distractions. Hasn't happened. George Pickens, he's been everything you wanted him to be and more. I've pointed out, here's what's crazy. I want you to think about this for a second. If you liked what we had with Amari Cooper, and let me pull up Amari Cooper on his stats, I want you to understand that the last year Amari Cooper was here in Dallas, he had 865 yards, 12.7 yard average, and 8 TDs for the whole season. His best season was 1,189 yards and 8 TDs. George Pickens is about to shatter those numbers. He's already at 765 and 6 TDs, and we're only 9 games into the season. We have 8 more games. So the Cowboys at that time paid Amari Cooper a boatload of money. And it was worth it because between Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, it was dynamic. Since you got rid of Amari Cooper, nobody's come anywhere close to that kind of production until you got George Pickens. Now, here's the thing. We heard one of the Dan Graziano, the so-called experts there, who said that the Cowboys might franchise him. No, they might. They might let him just walk. They might get him a long-term deal. It's going to be one of those things. I don't know which one. But it's easy to say that and start speculation and get the clicks. What I think the Cowboys should do is not do the things that they typically do. And that is trash a guy, make him feel like he's being greedy in the media, that he's not a team player, and just get the thing done. Because a happy George Pickens performs on the field. And when you say you can't afford it, well, you took dead money to get rid of Amari Cooper. You ended up paying a boatload of money to Michael Gallup. You spent draft capital in getting Jalen Tolbert. You ended up signing free agents like Brandon Cooks that you're still paying. Mind you, you're still paying Brandon Cooks $4 million in dead money this year and $8.7 million in dead money for Michael Gallup. This is where I always tell people the cheapest price isn't always the cheapest price, because generally speaking, when you spend less than actually getting something good, you have to replace it, or it doesn't do the job as well. Whenever I buy a tool, I look at it and say, will it make the job better? Will it save me time? Will it pay for itself? If it does those things, it doesn't matter what it costs. Doesn't matter. When you think about all of the failed positions that we've had, instead of saying, we would have been better had we went out and we got a free agent wide receiver than paying Michael Gallup with an injury. We would have been better going out and getting a free agent right tackle than a $80-some million contract to Terrence Steele. Because at least if it didn't work out 2 years later, you get out from under it. And here it is. We're sitting here paying $18 million for Terrence Steele last year, this year, and next year. So the Cowboys have to recognize, believing in our own guys, hey, that's great. But you've got to bring in quality players to go with it. Now, this is a great experiment right now, because now you got Kenny Clark, you got Quentin Williams, and you got Logan Wilson. What I hope happens is this starts turning this defense around, and it wakes the Cowboys up and realizing I have to get real talent, not just somebody who was a first-round draft pick that has failed. And that's what they need to do. But back to A.J. Brown, because this is the kind of situation we really don't want to have. And some of you may not remember the situation we had with Amari Cooper, that it wasn't that his production wasn't there. It was more of his attitude and getting along with him. This is what transpired last night or yesterday.
Daddy had 9 for 168. 2 tubs.
Whoa. 2 tubs.
Daddy.
Yeah, supposedly that's A.J. Brown he's playing against.
Well, that gotta be cool as hell, bro. Like, you be like, bro, like your son seeing you like on a game, bro. Like, that's actually lit, bro.
I'm telling you, bro. That's the only highlight of the damn football I've been living right now.
Wow.
Hey, man, look. Sunday chat.
Daddy had.
That's the only highlight I've been living. That's pretty bad. And it's getting to be quite ugly right now. And so you wonder, is this going to be the thing that ends up kind of killing the Eagles going forward? So we'll finish this off just listening to, I'm always happy when there's misery for the Eagles, okay? The Eagles, they love when there's misery for the Cowboys. I love the fact that this is going on, because it really got underneath Philly 500 skin yesterday. When I thought I was just going to get slaughtered because the Cowboys stink, as he says, he was on his heels dealing with this. So the pressure is getting to him. Let's go to the tape.
Stop that, okay? Thinking on the Eagles. A.J. Brown is venting about his role in the offense. Yesterday, video surfaced of Brown appearing with streamer Janky Rondo. The Rondo reference. At one point, the gamer asked Brown if everything was going well. He responded with the quote, "I mean, no, where have you been? Family is good, everything else is good. It's a bleep show." Well, take a listen.
In that moment where I'm just talking to my friend, having fun with my friend, I'm not apologizing for that. Like I said, because if you have eyes, you can see that. And so, like, it's not that I was throwing anybody on the bus. I'm literally trying to laugh through this. This tough. Like, but I'm trying to make fun of the situation and to try to get through it. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is, man. It's not about we're not winning or I don't care about winning. All I care about is stats. No, it's been week after week sometimes we're not contributing. We're not doing our job on offense. So you can't just keep slapping the Band-Aid over that. And if you expect to win late in the year and you think you're going to go to it at the end of the year, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You know, last year, what it was, thank you for the ring, but it's a new season. They adapted. We have to adapt, and we have to continue to, get better and try to find new ways.
All right, Andrew Hawkins, you're our resident wide receiver on set. Do the Eagles have an A.J. Brown problem?
Absolutely not. Like, you don't want your leaders thinking that way? That you don't want to put a Band-Aid on something just because it's working now, but you know there's issues. You don't want it to be as best as it could be? That should be what you want out of a leader. Is that not the case?
Oh,
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I think about it differently.
I would say as long as he's doing that privately with the team as well, on top of publicly. Just because if you're going to be the guy that's giving sound bites each and every week and it's public and everybody's having to answer at these pressers for a lot of the things that feels like is going on internally, if you're A.J. Brown, a captain of the football team and a leader in the locker room, if you feel that way and you're saying that publicly on why you're frustrated, I'm hoping you're pressing the team and challenging the team internally as well. Because then when they hear it echoed publicly, they know nothing's really, this is just our leader speaking on everything he's told us.
Yeah. The thing that he
If
said
this was George Pickens, they'd be killing
on
us.
offense is not sustainable in order to win another Super Bowl. That is absolutely true. I agree with what you said. Like, if you're AJ and you're a captain, that has to be a conversation that takes place privately, and then if it keeps going a certain way, then it can go public. My problem with this is you have so many stars on that team. You have Smith, you have Saquon, Goddard, and I mean, nobody has the numbers they want this year. And AJ just seems the one we happen to be seeing this desk every single week and talking about. I like my wide receiver to have a little diva in them. I like him to be like, hey, I need the ball a little bit. I like that. But at some point, especially we're getting in the middle of November, December, it's like, the biggest thing is winning. And at the end of the day, at all costs, if your score is just a little bit higher than the other, that's really all that matters.
We have what might be the best weekend of the NFL season upon us. The best slate of games. We got the Rams and the Seahawks. We got the Buccaneers and the Bills. We got the Eagles and the Lions. We've got MVP candidates in this league. Matthew Stafford, Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Patrick Mahomes. And yet, somehow, A.J. Brown, who's a great receiver, who had 2 catches for 13 yards on Monday night, he's morphed into the individual version of the Dallas Cowboys, where somehow we're leading the show with A.J. Brown every single week. How did that happen?
It's called chess.
Because A.J. Brown should never have 2 catches for 13 yards in any NFL game.
I totally disagree with that. First of all, Green Bay defensively gives up the least amount of big plays in football, by far. So, having a reaction to Philly's pass game or explosive pass game or AJ's production coming off of that game is silly. I'd be surprised if AJ doesn't have 6, 7, 8 catches this week against Detroit, who's going to play it very differently. This is why 4 weeks ago, I was like, AJ's going to want to get traded. And everyone lost their mind. It's obvious AJ doesn't want to be there right now, okay? That doesn't mean that they can't win the Super Bowl. It doesn't mean that A.J. Brown's still not going to be a massive part of them trying to get back. But the reality is this. A.J.'s getting the ball thrown to him at the same rate as he was last year. Same rate. It's just not happening at the same level.
But he wasn't on with Jenky Rondo last year.
But because last year this offense was unstoppable. They were doing whatever they wanted all the time. They were breaking historical records in the run game. So it wasn't this conversation. If Jalen Hurts said this, would anyone be making a big deal out of it?
No.
Why? Because he's the quarterback? Because Jalen's allowed to tell
I don't mind the locker room. It's more the going on the Twitch stream the night after the game when.
But we can make that a big deal, or we can't. A.J. Brown was on Twitch stream, and guys, he told the truth. The offense hasn't been dominant this year. No. It's been good enough. Is it good enough to beat the Rams when it's win or go home? No.
No.
Is it good enough to beat Seattle when it's win or go home? No. You guys are right. He's telling the truth. It's good enough in October and November. It's not going to be good enough in November, December, January.
But what's confusing and surprising, too, is this team has won so many games, but at the same time feels so dysfunctional at the same time. With all these bites that come out each and every week.
Well, dysfunctional in what regard? And is the dysfunction leading to losses?
It hasn't yet. It hasn't yet. Offense has been inconsistent. They have not. They've lost twice. They're one of the best teams in the NFL, but it hasn't yet. But there's still this feeling. So I'll give you an example. There's this. Have you read the book 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership? There's a law in there. It's called Law of the Inner Circle. Stick with me here. Yep. Your team is either going to be your greatest asset or your greatest liability. And I'll give you a couple examples. The Chiefs last year, when they're winning these one-score games, or the question marks that they've had with injuries, they're 5-4 right now, but it's always this team that can come back into the fold at any moment because this is a team culturally and leadership-wise that can recenter every week. Lions, too, the play color changed last week. That wasn't a massive story. They took an ass whooping in week 1 against the Packers, and there's a lot of questions coming out after week 1, but it's a football team that can recenter and show their identity because their team, everybody in that building is their greatest asset.
Yes.
Where it feels like the Eagles, at times with the locker room and the players, it feels like there's a liability waiting to happen, Danny-O.
I feel like the opposite. Has this organization and this coach and quarterback not proven to us that they can handle it? That they can handle all the noise and all the distraction?
They have proven it, but that's kind of A.J. Brown's point. It's like, it shouldn't be every time we're in dire constraints, we have to pull this thing up. Like, we have to get this consistently where that it's flowing the whole way through. Because when you play the good teams, you're not going to be able to just turn that on. For A.J. Brown, to your point about how he played last year or how many times he was targeted, this is a guy that was on track for a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
And that is not the trajectory he's on. And I'm going to pull a graphic here because this is why he would be upset. Okay? Where A.J. Brown sits receiving-wise in the league versus where Andrew Hawkins sat in 2014. I want you to, like, seriously, we were talking about the level, and it's not about just being individual, like, oh, he's not this, he's not that. What it is this is an asset that does make your team better.
I think we see it the same way. I think we're sitting there saying, this is a guy that is highly successful, highly competitive, and he wants both of it.
We're all agreeing. We're talking very loud.
Taylor, you played.
And he has a suit on. So he's bringing his A-game debate.
I want to get shot.
He's reading all